Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Everyone calls Inception a masterpiece, but I am about to show you why Christopher Nolan fooled an entire generation with fancy visuals and confusing timelines. The crisp IMAX projection flickers to life. Hans Zimmer's thunderous score pounds through theater speakers. Suddenly you feel like the smartest person in the room for getting it. But what if I told you the biggest twist in Inception is not in the movie? It is that the movie is not actually that smart. By the end of this video essay, you will never look at that spinning top the same way again. Now, before you roast me in the comments, hear me out. Inception is the perfect case study of how style can mask substance. Today, we're breaking down 3 massive problems with this so-called masterpiece. First, why being complicated does not make you smart. Second, the plot holes nobody talks about. And third, how Nolan used spectacle to distract from weak storytelling. Stick around, because I have a controversial take that will change how you see this entire film. And trust me, it will spark some heated debate that will make your comment section explode. So smash that like button if you are ready to question everything you thought you knew about Inception. Let us dive in. Look, I get it. Inception feels complex. Dreams within dreams within dreams. Time dilation, and totems, limbo. It is like Nolan threw every science fiction concept at the wall and somehow made it stick. But complexity for complexity's sake is not intelligence. It is confusion dressed up as sophistication. In fact, it's so complicated that for much of the film, characters are just explain things. The dreamer can always remember the genesis of the idea. In a dream, your mind functions more quickly. Time moves slower the deeper you go. This is not clever storytelling. It is a lecture. The film suffers from what I call Wikipedia syndrome. It is so concerned with explaining its concepts that it forgets to make them feel organic. Characters don't speak like human beings. They speak like instruction manuals. Ariadne is not a character discovering a new world. She is an audience surrogate being fed exposition. Her questions are our questions. Her confusion is our confusion. She exists simply to make the film's mechanics digestible to the audience. Compare this to a film like Memento. That movie handles complex narrative structure while keeping the focus on character. Leonard's condition is not just a gimmick, it drives every emotional beat. His memory loss is not explained through dialogue dumps. It is experienced through the film's structure. Memento trusts its audience to piece things together. Inception treats its audience like students who need everything spelled out twice. Here is a simple test. Try to explain Inception's plot to someone without using the words basically, so, or, and then. It's harder than it sounds because the film is built on a foundation of arbitrary rules rather than character motivations. There is a difference between complex and complicated. Complex stories have many interconnected elements that serve thematic purposes. Complicated stories have many elements that serve plot purposes. Inception is complicated, not complex. Every element exists to make the heist possible. The multiple dream levels are not exploring different aspects of consciousness. They are just providing different locations for action sequences. Level 1, car chase. Level 2, hotel fight. Level 3, snow fortress battle. Limbo, emotional confrontation. Each level is a different genre exercise. Corporate thriller, action film, war movie, psychological drama. That is not sophisticated. That is just 4 movies stacked on top of each other. Take the concept of Inception itself, planting an idea in someone's mind. In real life, this happens constantly. Advertising, propaganda, peer pressure, social media algorithms. We are bombarded with attempts to plant ideas in our heads every single day. But the film treats this like some revolutionary concept that requires elaborate psychological warfare to achieve. If Inception was as simple as showing someone a compelling argument or emotional appeal, there would not be a movie. So Nolan creates artificial barriers. The target has to be unconscious. The idea has to be planted 3 dream levels deep. It has to feel like the target's own idea. It requires a team of specialists. All of this exists to justify a 2.5-hour runtime, not because these barriers make logical sense. When you examine Inception's rules, they fall apart faster than a house of cards in limbo. The movie tells us time moves differently in each layer. 5 minutes equals 1 hour, then a week, then years. Sounds mathematical. Sounds smart, right? Wrong. The van falls off the bridge. This gives the team exactly 1 song's length to complete their mission. Edith Piaf's song runs 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But watch the hotel sequence. Joseph Gordon-Levitt floating through that silent corridor, bodies hitting walls, explosions rippling while Hans Zimmer's brass builds. There is no way that choreography happens in 2.5 minutes. The film cheats its own rules whenever convenient. Just Cobb's totem is Mal's spinning top. In reality, it wobbles and falls with that metallic clink. In dreams, it spins forever. But Cobb did not create this totem, Mal did. Ariadne handles it. She knows how it behaves. It is compromised. The entire ending hinges on this top's reliability. If it is compromised, that iconic final shot is meaningless. Now, Cobb's motivation is getting back to his children, but his emotional journey is not about his kids. It is about Mal. Every guilt-ridden flashback, every confrontation in those vast limbo landscapes where wind whistles through abandoned buildings. It is all about his dead wife, not his living children. The premise of shared dreaming has no basis in reality. The film explains this with militarized subconscious. That is not science. That is what happens when writers discover a psychology textbook and start throwing around terms like confetti at a graduation ceremony. Fisher's revelation is not subtle. He decides to dissolve his empire because he finds a pinwheel in a safe. Apparently, billion-dollar corporate decisions can now be made based on childhood toys. Goldman Sachs executives everywhere are frantically searching their desks for old slinkies. The mechanics of how Inception actually works are never clearly established. We are told it is incredibly difficult, nearly impossible. Yet the film shows us Fisher accepts this life-changing idea based on flimsy evidence. If ideas can be planted this easily, why do we need 3 layers of dreams? Why not just show him the pinwheel while he is awake? The answer is because Nolan needed a reason to stage elaborate action sequences in different visual environments. The film creates arbitrary difficulty to justify its own existence. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. Inception looks incredible. That folding city, the zero-gravity hallway fight, the exploding beach houses. But here's the thing about great magic tricks. The flashier the presentation, the simpler the method usually is. Quick test. Without looking it up, name 3 personality traits of Arthur, or Eames, or Ariadne. Struggling. That is because they do not have any. These are not characters, they are functions. Arthur is the point man. Eames is the forger, Ariadne is the architect. They exist to serve the plot mechanics, not to feel like real people. But Nolan's original choice for Ariadne was Evan Rachel Wood. When she turned it down, he considered Emily Blunt, Rachel McAdams, Emma Roberts, Carey Mulligan, even Taylor Swift. Eventually, Ellen Page got the part. Think about that. You could cast a pop star in the role of your film's emotional guide, and it would not fundamentally change the character. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was cast as Arthur after James Franco had scheduling conflicts. These were not specific actors chosen for unique qualities. They were placeholders that any competent performer could fill. Arthur exists to be precise and humorless. That is his entire personality. He argues with Eames and follows orders. He has no backstory, no personal stakes, no character growth. Ariadne is the audience surrogate. Her job is to ask questions so the film can provide exposition. She is supposedly brilliant at architecture, but we never see evidence of this beyond one maze drawing scene. Her emotional arc is being curious, then concerned, then determined. That is not character development, and that is a mood board. Eames is charming and flippant. He makes jokes and forges identities in dreams. But what drives him? What are his fears, regrets, or hopes? The film does not care. Even Leonardo DiCaprio feels wooden in this role. He is playing a puzzle piece, not a person. But Nolan takes shortcuts with emotional storytelling that he would never take with his plot mechanics. Cobb's relationship with his children is established through exactly 3 elements: a phone call, some photos, and the final reunion scene. We never see him interacting with them before Mal's death. We do not understand their personalities or their relationship with their father, yet we are supposed to care deeply about his desire to reunite with them. Compare the emotional core of Inception to a film like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Both deal with memory, dreams, and lost love. But Kaufman's script makes you care about Joel and Clementine as human beings first. Concept explorers second. In Eternal Sunshine, every science fiction element serves the emotional story. In Inception, every emotional element serves the science fiction plot. The film has it backwards. Inception is just a heist movie in a fancy suit, and the suit is doing all the heavy lifting. Strip away the dream concept, remove the visual effects, take out Hans Zimmer's booming score. What are you left with? A team of specialists infiltrating a secure location to plant something without the target knowing. That is it. That is every heist movie ever made. Ocean's 11, The Italian Job, Mission Impossible. Same structure, same beats. Inception just swaps Casino Vault for Subconscious Mind, but calling it a dream does not make it deeper. The movie asks big questions about reality and perception, but it does not actually explore them. What is real becomes, look at this city folding. How do ideas spread becomes, here is a snow fortress battle. What defines identity becomes, check out this spinning top. It is intellectual seasoning sprinkled over familiar meat. The most ironic part of all, the movie about planting ideas in people's minds successfully planted the idea that it was a masterpiece in ours. We got incepted by Inception itself. The marketing campaign positioned Inception as the thinking person's blockbuster, the movie that would make you feel smart for understanding it. And it worked. People did not just watch Inception. They performed their intelligence by explaining it to confused friends. The film became a cultural signifier. Liking Inception meant you appreciated complex narratives. Questioning it meant you did not get it. But what if the joke was on us all along? So let me recap the 3 arguments that prove Inception is not as smart as we think. 1. Complexity is not intelligence. It is just confusion with better marketing. 2. The plot holes are not mysteries. They are inconsistencies that break the film's internal logic. 3. Visual spectacle cannot hide weak character development and familiar storytelling. Strip away the dream concept and you are left with a standard heist movie elevated by cinematography and sound design. Does this mean Inception is terrible? Of course not. The film deserves credit for its technical achievements and for its ambition to create something different in the blockbuster landscape. But it does mean we should look behind the curtain of the masterpiece label. Sometimes the Emperor really is wearing new clothes, and sometimes he is just very good at making us think he is. So here is what I want you to do. Drop your hottest Inception take in the comments. Defend it. Demolish it. I do not care which side you are on. I just want good arguments. Tell me where I am wrong. Show me the character development I missed. Point out the philosophical insights I overlooked. And if you want more film analysis that cuts through the hype, smash that subscribe button.